All right. Okay, we are live. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the series of Faces of Ace Your Econs or AYE. So my name is Jeffrey. Okay, today I have with me Mr. Hsin An, okay, who is Chan or Chen? Chen, right?
Chen, yeah, Chen.
Chen, yeah. Who was a former graduate from our program, Ace Your Econs. So the objective of Faces of Ace Your Econs is a community program or community event. Okay, the objective is to showcase to existing A-level students how are our students coping post A-levels and what are the tips that they have to share with our current batch of A-level students. Okay, so Hsin An, thanks for coming on board. I really appreciate your time, taking time off, okay, on the 9 p.m. On Monday. Yeah, it's very cold, very rainy right now. And yes, okay, would you like to take this opportunity to introduce yourself? So I have some brief bio profile of yours. Okay, so let me dig out and I'll actually share with our viewers. Okay, so Hsin An was formerly from ACJC. He was in the batch of 2015 and 2016. Okay, and
I think 1415.
1415. Oh, why did I keep getting it wrong?
Yeah, 1415. I went to check 1415.
Okay, that disclosed our age really. We better we better keep quiet. Yeah, the 1415. Okay, and yes, something that nobody knows about Hsin An is he's currently more vested in digital marketing and financial industry. Okay, more than his current schoolwork. Spending more time there.
Yeah.
Okay, so for the fellow audiences who are watching this, if you'd like to find out with Hsin An more about his current course, tips for A-levels, or why is he more vested elsewhere or curious elsewhere, okay, please drop us a comment, okay, and we will get back to you. If not, please give this video a like, okay, and you can share it with your friends. Okay, so would you like to share with us? Okay, how was your JC journey like? Okay, your highs and lows in what was one particular event that was your most peak or something that you were very proud of in your A-level journey, and what was one of the event that you were very upset, or what was your lowest period in your A-levels or your JC journey?
Okay. So I mean, speaking about my JC journey, it seems like a very boring one, but at the same time, it's also quite fun because let's say for me, before I go to ACJC, I actually came from a neighborhood school, so I'm actually one of the very rare few that ended up in JC. So actually, when I first entered JC, right, my first year, I would say there's a lot of lows. Reason being, right, like I was so used to scoring well back in the secondary school, but the moment I went to enter ACJC, which is quite I would say quite it's not a bad JC, it's quite good in a sense. So suddenly my ranking among my peers, it drops to like average or sometimes even below average. And so for my first year, it was just a lot of loss. I just feel like, oh my God, I suddenly cannot catch up to people. And back then I was also in canoeing for my CCA. So we have a lot of trainings, like in the case whereby sometimes morning we need to go for runs, go for gym sessions, all of these. To the extent whereby I was so physically exhausted and I don't exactly have the time to study. But I was also very passionate about my CCA. So I was basically struggling a lot. And if you would ask me like where the lowest point comes, right, that is actually the point when I received my year one is it called promo? Is it now still?
Yeah, it's still called promo. Nothing has changed.
Nothing has changed. So my promo exam, right? In my first year promo exam, I failed. I think I failed. I don't know how many subjects was tested. Basically, I failed a lot of it. Then it was to the extent whereby they say that the vice principal come to all of us in the room and say, you guys might want to consider quitting JC and go to a polytechnic, that kind of thing. Which I was very offended. And I was like, oh man, this is actually like the worst thing. I've never expected this kind of thing to happen in my life.
Wow. Why would the VP say that? I'm so shocked. I haven't heard of this. I thought the VP would have persuaded all of you to retake or to retain. That's what I often hear. But to get out of JC, that's quite hard.
It was I think for particular group, he said that you guys will retain, but I mean, like, okay, to be more explicit, it's more towards he say, for those of you who are really even struggling to get the current results you are getting, this might not be the best way for you. But of course, back then I interpret it as you want me to get out of this school, which I think to me it's actually a very low point. And I think during the holiday I was also banned from going for gym trainings, but I can still go to roll my boat lah. Except just physical training, I need to the timing I'm supposed to use it for study. So I would say that was actually the lowest point. And in terms of the highest point, I would say you'll be maybe, let's say, in the year 2 period, whereby after I stepped down from CC, it was quite funny because I will go and find out like ways to study, which is quite funny. You don't really see people go and Google, like, you instead of like you I'm Googling for the techniques for studying instead of like the subject matter. So that was, I think, that's when I see results coming back better and better. And I think when I received my A-level results, I think I'll say is actually the highest point. Is something that's actually surprising, especially like within a 1 year period, I was able to climb there. I think for me that is an achievement which until today I'm still pretty proud of. But yeah, I think I'll say that is the highest point.
Wow. Thanks for sharing. So later on, I think you will also be sharing with us some study tips, right? And that was previously applicable. So for viewers, okay, if you have any questions for Hsin An, okay, with regards to his study tips, okay, please drop us a comment section. So yes, okay, your subject combination. So when you share with the viewers your subject combination, okay, you also want to share with them why, okay, have you chosen this particular combination?
Okay. So my subject combination is quite a typical one, which I think a lot of people do, is like PCME. So your physics, chemistry, math, and the last one is econs. So for me, my PCM, these three are H2, then my econs was a H1. And the reason why I actually chose this is actually not so, okay, back then I wasn't exactly sure what my interest lies in. So the first thing I do is I take a look back at my O-level results. So for my O-level back then, I took triple science. So actually, for bio, chemistry, physics, I took all of them. But for these three subjects, my chemistry, my physics was like A1, but my bio was an A2. So back then, I know like I'm probably a physics person more than a bio person. I mean, if I myself don't know, at least my results will give me a better information. So PC, then my math, I've always been decent at it. So I'll just like PCM okay. Then econs, in a sense, like it's a given lah. Pretty much just take it lah. Then so back then I was like a H1 or H2 option. Then I was like, I don't want to stress myself so much, so let's just go for H1 first, because like I don't want to go and take H2 then I was like, oh my god, it's so stressful, because like I said just now, I come from neighborhood school, so I know like it's gonna take time for me to adjust. So I want to give myself like an acceptable amount of like such incremental pressure, instead of like all of a sudden I shoot to a top, then I just collapse. So that's why in the end I opt for the H1. So yeah, that's like the subject combination part.
Okay, good. Hey, so thanks for sharing your subject combi. Okay, and yes, for the viewers who are watching, especially parents, okay, PCME is a very popular combination. So especially the contrasting subject econs is normally H1. Okay, but of course there are also exceptions to that, where students like they can play around with a chem H1 or physics H1. That kind of, it's quite rare. Okay, but most of the time it's econs H1. All right. So yes, we'll move on to the next part. So would you like to share with the viewers where are you currently at? And after graduating from your course, okay, what is your career inspiration?
Okay, so after I graduate from ACJC, I first go to 2 years national service. Then after my 2 years, actually the thing about this is that one interesting fact is after I got my A-level results, because my results was quite okay, so my parents was like, since your result is qualified for a more prestigious course like medicine, why not you go and try? So actually, before I go to my current course, I actually applied for medicine, and I think to this I'll say like, I'm quite happy that I didn't get through in the end. So this is just like a hiccup lah. But okay, eventually, right, what I choose was that I eventually went to NUS Business, pursuing a business administration degree. So actually back then I was quite sure I want to do business. I think this one I probably got to tell you before as well, that I want to do business. It's just more towards like how am I going to approach it. So back then the choices was either SMU, NUS, NTU. Then it's not like, okay, I'm also the lazy part to do research. So in the end, I choose NUS just simply because it's near my house. So that's the reason. It's not a lot of like, oh my God, the one better than that. No, I think it's just because it's near. So I'm currently studying NUS Business. Then my specialization is actually in finance and marketing. I'm doing a double specialization. Then in terms of career perspective, like just now, Mr. Teo shared about that, I'm not exactly focused in school. It's because like, okay, outside school, I'm currently doing digital marketing as well as financial advisory. So career-wise, these two most likely will be the things which I'm doing after I graduate. And I would say because these two pretty much is like my interest, and just happens that the interest which I'm interested in can also provide me with an income to sustain. So I think it's quite a good thing that you can actually pursue your own passion.
Wow. So how do you manage to stumble upon your, let's say, passion, or like, let's say, financial advisory? Okay, so how do you manage to stumble upon this opportunity? Was it when you were schooling, or somebody, or was it from NS? I don't know.
Okay, so for financial advisory part back then was when I was in year one. Then after I see my friend going for this kind of internship in the finance industry, then I'm like, okay, this sounds pretty interesting. Why not I just go and take a look? And that's when it actually gets started. So I'll just go and be like, after I look at things which they do, and of course, most of the time, I think for people, finance industry actually provide you with quite a decent income. And it's something that, in terms of, let's say, a sales business, what it allows you to do is that your rewards usually is more proportional to the amount of effort that you put in. So instead of taking like a fixed pay, the more you put in, the better the results and better the income will be. So that is something which I think is more aligned to my own interests and values, because I don't exactly enjoy the idea of everybody doing different amount of work but still receiving the same pay. So I just like, if I like to work hard, I get more income. So that is something that resonates with me. So I was just like, okay, why not I give it a try? But of course, let's say that's the financial advisory part. And the digital marketing part actually started also because of the financial advisory. Reason being, like for us in this like sales industry, we need to find leads, we need to find potential clients, prospects, all these kind of things. And for me, it's like, is there any way that I can do it? And that's when I stumbled upon like the concept of digital marketing. Like you see the advertisements people run on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. And I was like, this is actually, if I can pick up these skill sets, this one could potentially help me with a lot of my business and branding, etc. So that's when I go and at first I learned digital marketing because there's no money to outsource. You have to go and learn yourself. Then as I got to learn it, I realized actually this is very interesting because there's always an overlap between sales marketing. You get to understand the fundamentals of human psychology, human interaction, and that's like it is actually something I'm more passionate inside. Then I realized I'm actually doing way better than I thought. Then I was like, how about I offer this service to other people to make additional income? And it happens that when I help other people do their marketing for their businesses, then I'm also earning a decent amount of money. So I'm like, hey, why not? I do both of it together. Then
Wow.
Yeah, that's how it is.
Wow. Speaking of which, your passion meets your career. That's so exciting. I'm really happy for you. Not a lot of my graduates actually are as lucky as you. So some of them, when they graduate from even for NUS Business, NTU Business, they end up in a job that they don't like in a bank. For instance, like myself, I think I shared with you. I was a disgruntled banker. I didn't like what I do. So I'm really happy that you stumbled onto your own passion. So later on, if time permits, we'll probably get you to share a little bit more. Okay, if not, we'll move on to we'll quickly move on to the tips part. Okay, so yes, we have reached the most interesting part, or the highlights. So what was your most memorable moment with myself and with the program, or anything that you'd like to share?
Okay, actually, I can't exactly say pick an exact moment, but I'll say actually the time spent with you back then. I think back then we're still in a building that is like still in a, I can't remember where it's like McPherson there, right?
Yeah. It was a very small room, right?
it was a small room, and I think back then I was very lucky because like you actually like I think my timing wasn't able to fit in the class, so you actually helped me do a new class like time slot. So actually I was really lucky. Then I actually a lot of one-to-one time. So in terms of memorable moment, I would say that most classes actually is quite fun, and I think the approach is actually very structured. I think that for me, most of it is memorable because every single session I get to walk away with something that I learned. Because I really didn't like my teacher back then in school. I don't know how. I remember I openly tell you that I'm ready to hand my school econs to you. So I still remember. It's quite funny. Then I think memorable wise, you was just say that the best thing is just that every session you walk away knowing that you have learned something new about how you can handle exam and stuff. I would say that.
Okay. I'm glad that I was able to add value. And, and for the viewers out there, okay, so I always make it a point to document students, okay, or how our paths has actually crossed. Okay, so this was how me and Hsin An looked back then. So just now Hsin An was actually saying that I lost a lot of weight. I can't really tell from this. Maybe maybe viewers, okay, if you have anything that you want to add on, okay, on how our aesthetic changes have progressed along the way, please let us know. I don't think I lost that much weight, and Hsin An still looks the same. I think you were darker back then. Yeah,
definitely. Because back then after I graduate, I just I want to go back robo already. Yeah, I still get 10. But right now I haven't been exposed to the sun for quite a while.
Okay, okay. So we will proceed on to How do you do for your A levels?
For my A levels, what I score, I score for GP and general papers, I got a B. For the rest of my subjects, I got an A. So total, my rank point was 87.5. Yeah. Thank you.
But coming to say, looking back, okay, so rank points were important back then. But now, as a third year or fourth year student, what do you have to share with the viewers, audience, the significance of rank points?
The way I see it is just that if you have a very clear idea of what courses you want to get, right, you can actually roughly gauge what is like the entry points for your own courses. Because there have been I think at the end of the day, the benchmarks are just there as a reference purpose. There have always been cases whereby people below the benchmark, above the benchmark, entering the course regardless. The way I see it is that don't stress yourself too much. Because if let's say you know that the course you want to go in, it does not require that significant, maybe like a 90 rank point, full rank point, then you don't exactly have to stress yourself so much and plan strategically. Because at the end of the day, right, if you focus so much on focusing effort on the project that you are really struggling on, you might be missing out the efforts which you could originally score well. And afterward, your overall rank point might still get affected. So just really know what is it that you want and plan out the things accordingly. Because not every single one of us, for example, let's say for me, I knew that back then my GP, my English is just not that good. So for me, I just say that then if that's the case, I focus on what I'm good at. I studied my science subjects. I study my, let's say, math. I study, let's say, Econs. Econs is something which I knew after. I was attending. I think was I studying. The tuition I have with you was close to a year, right?
Right. I think it was
quite long. So back then I know slowly I can back then when I first go, I was like, this one died already. I really need to find something. But I think towards the end, I know this is something I can score if I put in effort. So I just tell myself that okay, GP, I really, no matter what, I really cannot save it already. I do damage control, I save the rest.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think that is something that I think is very important. Know what is it that you want, then plan your study plan, or let's say everything, just have a very good strategy as how to approach it in order for you to get the maximum rank point. Yeah.
Okay, so back to what Hsin An has shared. So basically, the significance of the rank points is only as good as you know where you want to go in uni, right? And after that, let's say if you are doing digital marketing, financial advisory, do they look at your rank points?
They don't. As a matter of fact, I actually get scolded by my dad as well. He's like, hey, why are you doing things that don't even require a degree? And I'm like, okay.
Okay. So to the viewers out there, it's not that rank points are not important. Okay, it is just as good as knowing where you want to go. Okay, that's the most important part. And after university, okay, you will also consider to explore what other interests that you are truly excited about, like Hsin An, so that you don't end up in the wrong career.
Yeah.
Okay, because the value of your rank points, okay, is not going to hold on forever. Okay, so sorry for digressing, ladies and gentlemen. So if you have any questions, okay, that you have for Hsin An, okay, for his A-levels journey, and how he survived his A-levels, okay, please drop us a comment. If you'd like to say hi to Spadin, okay, please remember to say hi as well. Okay, depending on how many comments I have to show her, okay, I'll decide Right now, she is right under my feet. She's snuggling. All right, so I will go on to the tips part. So, Hsin An, what is your first tip that you have for the our target audience, our audiences here, parents and students who are watching?
I think the very first thing which I want to share is this: study smart, don't study hard. The reason why I say that is like maybe for, let's say, for some of the audience here, if let's say you guys are still in J1 or let's say coming to JC, right? In the secondary school stage, is still a time whereby you can really study hard, cram everything inside, then you will be able to do well. But let's say coming to JC or let's say at this stage currently in university, right? The amount of information will just get more and more. The same way in which you study your secondary school, right, is not going to be enough. So what is actually very important is just that study smart. What I mean by study smart is not saying like, hey, you don't study. It's just more towards like, you need to understand like how you should approach. Let's say if you know your exam is going to be at this period, it's not like 1 or 2 weeks you try to cram all the information inside, because like that you're going to burn out, and especially when exams are back to back. So spread things out in advance and approach the studying strategically, like I previously said. You like, if you know that I think you probably know that if let's say you study in 3 blocks of 1 hour versus study in 1 block of 3 hours, definitely the separate blocks will be more efficient because the law of diminishing returns will kick in. So
wow, you still remember your econs well, huh?
I think that is something. Yeah, a lot of diminishing returns. So the thing actually applies even for your studying efficiency as well. So which is that like the 3 hours thing, right? The curve goes like that. The amount of knowledge you get will just get more and more flat. Then afterwards, the amount of time which you could originally use to recharge and prepare you for the next studying block, you are actually using it, not gaining information. So really understand like what is your own studying style. Are you the type that are able to sustain long hours studying, or are you the type that actually like me who can only study for a very short period of time? Then if that's the case, you really have to plan out accordingly. So in that way, right, it will actually help you to cram the most amount of information inside your head, and that is actually a better way for you to absorb information. The amount of time you spend, right, is not always positively correlated to the amount of information that you absorb. So that is something that I think a lot of us, even for me right now, I'm getting better, but I'm also improving on it. But let's say for those of you who are really looking to make your life easier, really need to go and spend some time understanding the way you study and plan it accordingly.
Right, Hsin An, I do have a question. Okay, because previously, one of the other guests actually shared that. I don't know whether is it common among your age group or peers back then, but okay, there is like a ongoing competition of to study hard. Okay, they will actually post on Instagram on how hard they study. You know, I haven't been reading for the past few days because I have been studying. So they will try to portray to the rest of the others that they are studying very hard. So and I don't know. And some of these students, why they are doing this is because they are guilty if they are not studying hard. I don't know. There could be many motivations of why this kind of sharing on Instagram. Okay, but what is your advice for this kind of people?
I think at the end of the day, social media, right? There are a few ways in which you can look at. And let's say, especially for me, I'm doing marketing, so social media is something which for us is a platform to use to broadcast message. But let's say for people who are using social media as consumers, right? One thing that's very important is just to not fall prey to all these kind of things, because the fact is, right, let's just like Mr. White talked about, people post Insta story of them studying. The fact that they are actually using the phone to study, to post that they are studying, right, it shows that they put their book there, but they are using their phone. Are they actually studying? That's the question we're asking. Like, is it effective? It might not. Actually, the most effective way of studying is you put your phone away, you just study your book. You don't have the time to go and take the Insta story. So the efficiency of them studying is actually not there for the way I see it. And let's say for people who actually get constantly affected, what I want you to understand is just that these are what they are doing. Does it concern you? Maybe it's up to you whether you want to get affected. What you can do is you can spend your time looking at their stories and feel guilty about it. Alternatively, what you can do is, frankly speaking, just put your phone away, do your studying. It doesn't matter, because whether they study or don't study is their grades. But whether you study or don't study, that is your grades. Focus on what you can control, and if you know that you'll get affected by these people, mute their stories or just put your phone away. For some of my friends who know that they get easily distracted by social media, they will actually delete their entire Instagram about 3 to 4 weeks right prior to exam to just completely cut themselves from all the things from social media. That is something which you can do. because a lot of times people fall into this thing called FOMO, like they are scared that they miss out. But then the thing about this is that if let's say you have already studied, then you look at people, it's like, hey, he's also studying, I need to continue study. But if you know you have already burned out, like previously said, then you're not giving yourself enough time to rest. At the end of the day, you're not getting the information in still. So don't make it a competition. The only one you're always compete. The only competition you have is yourself. So just focus on your own pace. And if let's say your friend is giving you like, okay, if let's say you want to study with your friends, then okay, the one you'll help each other. But if your friends is giving you a toxic energy, right, just block them off away and focus on your own things. I mean, that will be my advice.
All right, hey, thanks, Hsin An. So just to quickly sum up, is to really know your own study pattern, your studying style, especially if you think that you will get affected, okay, on social media especially, okay, then you want to take preemptive measures, either to put your phone away, like what Hsin An has mentioned, okay, or putting phone away only, right? I'm not looking at the phone and all, yeah.
Put the phone away. If you have to, delete the app for a while.
Exactly. Okay. Yeah. Delete the app for that period. Then you won't be actively checking, or it won't give you the convenience to check your friends' update. Okay. So thanks for sharing. So we are done with tip number 1. So for the for the viewers out there, remember to say hi, okay, to Hsin An and myself. And if you have any questions for me, okay, please remember to drop a comment, okay, and we will get back to you in a short while. Okay, so now we're moving on. Hsin An, what do you have for us, okay, for the second tip that you have prepared?
The second tip, which I think worked out quite well for me back then, right before the A-level period, was actually this thing, like you actually have to go and work out a study plan. So working out a study plan, right, why is this thing important is this? Because a lot of times we just feel like, okay, for I have this exam coming, I'm going to study for this. That will work if you're only taking one subject. But let's say for A-levels, or even let's say uni at this stage, you are taking multiple subjects at different timing. That is impossible for you to go and be like, hey, I'm going to study this for now. So then there is no clear timeline. So what is actually the best for you is you come up with a calendar or planner. For me, I personally use a calendar, like Google Calendar. It works for me. But what you can do is, let's say you can, for some people who like to draw out your stuff, go and print out a planner, then go and write what are the subjects, or down to the very chapters in which you want to cover for your for different subjects. The reason why I say it's important for you to have a study plan is because by having a plan drafted out, this ensures that you stay on track and on pace for every single thing. Because back then when I was in year 1, what I failed to do is I just study whatever I think I don't know, and I will have spent too much time on one subject, too little time on another. So working out a study plan is important, because by doing so, right, it helps you to allocate just enough time for you on different subjects, and you have to force yourself to stick to it. By sticking to it, then that's when you ensure every single thing covered. Yeah, it's true that you might not be super duper good at one subject because you spend less time on it, but at the same time, what it allows you to do is your overall knowledge on all your subjects, right, is still balanced, and that is actually the best way you can prepare yourself for exam.
So are you saying that it's not focusing excessively on your weak subject, but having an overall healthy balance of study helps? Are you
you need to balance one, especially when you're taking multiple subjects at the same time.
Okay. So actually, I have a question, but it's also related to your to your next point. But anyway, I'll still ask lah. So it's actually quite common. So some of the students, they are also aware that they have a study plan. To have a study plan. So what they do is they will plan. Like just now, I think you did mention that having plan a 3-hour block, for instance. Okay, and the thing is, they cannot finish what they set to cover, and they often fall into this routine trap of setting. I wouldn't. Should I say that is excessive goals that they cannot meet, and they actually get quite self-defeated lah. So I don't know what is your take on this. Have you experienced that before? Or setting they are too high or too unrealistic in your study plan, and once you don't meet, then you feel very upset. Then you start to blame yourself, start to guilt trip yourself, and then you procrastinate, that kind of thing.
I think this one, it happens when everybody first start doing planning, because everyone, when we do planning, we always will think that we do plan with 100% productive self, which is As a matter of fact, it's very unrealistic. Like when I first planned, I was be like, okay, I'm going to finish around 5 chapters within like the next 2 hours. But what happens, maybe by the end of 2 hours, I barely finish like 2 to 3 chapters. And the same thing will just repeat. At first, definitely it feels bad. But if you really take some time to just go and reflect on what's actually going on, are you actually, what am I doing wrong? Is it the studying process I'm doing wrong? Or am I setting a goal that is really too unrealistic? So after I realized that sometimes is that when I try to plan, let's say 5 chapters in the morning, another 5 chapters at night, there's a very good chance that I can finish the 5 chapter in the morning, then in the afternoon I cannot do the same. So that is when I realized, okay, I'm actually suffering from a burnout. So what I will start doing is either I allocate more time or I reduce the goal. And often I think reduce the goal is something that is better for me, because by doing so is that you under promise but you over deliver. You feel better. But by saying that, I'm not saying that, oh, you guys going to allocate like entire 3 hours to study the tiny little bit. You have to understand what you are good at, and basically you set a goal that is achievable. This is an ongoing process. It's not saying like, okay, you set one time, you'll be doing it perfectly. It takes time for us to get better at this planning game as well. Understanding how effective are you at studying, understanding how strong are you at this subject. If you're strong at this subject, there's a chance you can allocate for the same period of time, you can cover more topics. But if you understand that your understanding for this subject is just not as well, what you could do is either allocate more time or you give yourself less topics within this time block, so that you can spend more time getting it better, rather than doing the same pace for every single subject. Understanding your own strengths is strengths and weaknesses are very important.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, this is probably the second or the third time we have heard Hsin An mentioning about knowing yourself. All right, so very good, very important to have a good understanding of yourself. Okay, so for the current viewers who is currently under my program, if you don't know yourself, okay, please call me. I'll let you know, have a better understanding of where you are right now. Okay, I'll work through your study plan together with you. All right, so thanks, Hsin An, for sharing about the study plan. Okay, we will quickly move on to the last part. What is the last tip that you have for our viewers, Hsin An?
I think the last thing very important is you have to cultivate the discipline to follow a plan, because at the end of the day, right, what you have to understand is that having a plan itself is not enough until you actually have followed through the entire plan. The reason why I say this is a lot of times when we first make plans is that we make plans, the plans looks amazing, but the moment it comes to execution, we follow the first one, the second, follow day one, day two, and slowly everything just falls apart. So discipline-wise, why do I mean? So is that you have to think of it this way. It's like, maybe let's say during my A-level prep, I think for me it was like a 2 to 3 months plan. I can't exactly remember the detail, but what I would do is, let's say for the days I will allocate maybe I still want to have my life. So every 1 or 2 weeks I still allocate a day whereby I just go out with friends, go and play and stuff. But the rest of the days, what I do is just I make sure I stick to my plan very strictly. And this is something which I think every one of us has to learn, because at the end of the day, you have to, if you don't follow, you don't see the results. Discipline-wise, there are many ways for you to go and achieve it. If let's say you need after you have write down your plan, every one of us has a smartphone. You can put alarms, you can put reminder. I think there's reminder apps nowadays. Previously, what I did was I do alarm. So when I start, I just basically I set a timer. Once the block is up, my 3 hours block is up, I will just make sure I put a timer on another 1 to 2 hours. I just go and sleep, go and rest, go and play game, do whatever. Then just repeat the whole process, keep doing. It's actually I would say like it's quite crazy back then, but I would say that by doing so, right, it actually ensures you stay on track of your plan, and eventually the result will show. More importantly, it's just that if you, because a lot of time, all of us focus too much on the results. Like, I don't know whether I'm gonna be getting this result. I don't know whether I can get my A, get my B's, or improve my grades at all. But for me, more importantly, is that is something you cannot control. But what you can control is during this period of time, what are you doing with your time? Instead of spending this time worrying, what you can do is you take this time, really go and study your subjects, understanding what are your weaknesses, focus on growing them. Because back then for me, it's the same thing. My econs, I couldn't understand the concepts. So I focus on getting the concepts right. After I get the concept right, the next thing I know my weaknesses could be the way I tackle my exams, the way I tackle the questions. Is there like a systematic approach for you to go and do it? So that's when you start to identify what you don't know. The moment you understand what you don't know, you focus on that, you get better and better. And by doing so, you will be much, much more ready and prepared to go into the exam hall and ace your exams.
So, Hsin An, I often hear my students saying that they have the will to they want to do well, but somehow they halfway they say that Mr. Teo, I have no discipline to follow through. So, what is your advice for them? I mean, just now you shared that having the clock, a timer, that
Yeah.
one helps. Okay, so, are there any other forms of means to drive discipline to current students? I know going through NS does help with discipline, but I think it's a bit too late, right?
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, but okay, then let's just talk about NS. So you see, what is one thing that NS do well for keeping people disciplined is to keep everybody in groups. So let's say for you, if let's say you and your peers have similar goals, and let's say you all want to go to a similar course, what you guys can do, you all can so-called partner, have an accountability partner, which you say that if you know that you study at home, you're always like there's a comfortable bed lying around. You simply just go and text your friend, hey, how about we go library study together at these dates? Then basically you guys just keep going out study. So back then for me, I know at home I want to sleep. So what I do is just basically I go out in cafes, libraries to study out there. Sometimes I study with friends. And for studying with friends, the good thing about this is that, right, each of us have different strengths and weaknesses. So what you guys can do is that you guys group together. If let's say for me, I'm better at maths, I'll just be like, hey, come guys, I think this is my working. You guys can go and take. If you guys don't know, come ask me. So you can actually teach each other. So what is a good thing about teaching is that, you know, a lot of times in school they'll just be like, don't teach, you teach, later the person score better than you. But what they forgot to understand is that in order for you to teach somebody, you yourself have to be even better at it. So through teaching, you yourself also reinforce your learning. So I think if let's say you know you are good at one subject, go and teach your friends. And in return, if your friend is better than you in another subject, right? So the person will also teach you back. It's a concept of abundance which we all have to slowly learn. And again, coming back to the topic of discipline, accountability partner is something that is amazing. But back then for me is I think my alarm clock was a great partner. But of course, like other friends, a lot of my friends also helped me a lot. I have China scholar friends. They are super smart in terms of physics and math. They actually saved me a lot, even though my math was quite good, but theirs was even at higher level. So it's like I was quite blessed as well.
All right. So for the ladies and gentlemen who's watching this, especially your next year will be your big year. We're having an accountability buddy like what Hsin An has mentioned is really important. Okay, so if they don't want to meet in library, okay, these days we have this thing called what? Okay, everyone is quite familiar with the grid style of Zoom, right? Just turn on your webcam, okay, and you can start to have an accountability buddy right at home already. Okay, if that is something that helps you or to push you. All right. So thanks, Hsin An. Thanks for sharing this important tip. It's very important. So remember to identify, scout out your accountability buddies. Make sure they are not toxic. They are not toxic friends. Okay, they are friends that actually add value to your life. Okay, and yes, okay, study together. That's a very good way to push through that. Like in army, we call it the buddy system.
Yeah. Good old days.
We'll probably catch up later privately over army. Okay, but okay. So for the viewers out there, okay, if you have any questions for us, okay, please drop a comment, okay, and we'll get to Q&A session really shortly. Okay, so if there's no questions, then unfortunately, then no more questions. Okay, and we'll be moving on to the most exciting part. Okay, about your experience in NUS Business. So maybe you want to share with students who are of the current batch who have just graduated, okay, but waiting for A-level results. Okay, what is NUS Business like? Okay, so what was your expectation of NUS Business, and how did it turn out to be? And how is your experience in NUS Business?
Experience-wise, I would say, I think before I went in, I just know that, okay, business school, eventually you understand, like business school is not a very hard skill set thing like medicine, law, computer. What they teach you is a lot of things that's a lot more generic, and things that, like, for example, business itself is a very, very vague idea. So only, let's say for those, like some people, let's say for me, I know I want to do business. So I enter business, but there are also people that go in because they don't know what they want to do. And business degree actually offers you a lot of possible job openings. That is something that we have to go very straightforward. Like I don't want to come and tell you, be like, oh, yes, business amazing and what, like it's great place. But if let's say you want something that is a very tangible skill set, right? Business is something that you might want to give it an extra thought. But coming to, let's say, experience in NUS business, the great thing about it is the school is actually very vibrant, and the experience is like is there's a lot of fun element in it. But at the same time, the involvement has to be there if you want a true like full experience. There are definitely people who want to go to school just for the like studies, the lessons, and take exams. But that's the college. Like every college student want to do that. But in terms of NUS Business School, they offer you a lot more other experience. Like let's say they have camps, they have like fun time, there's events, and if let's say you get to stay in hall. For me, I didn't, but I still made a lot of friends over there, and there was a lot of activities. You guys can go and hang together, and there are also people who want to start out their new business. Like for example, let's say for me, I'm not the only one that is doing like an extra things that's outside. We have friends who are. We actually know people who are actually owning their own tuition center even while they are still a student. That also happens. So there's actually a lot of students pursuing their own ventures out there as well, which I think is also a great environment. So for people who are actually looking to pursue business degree, be in like SMU, NTU, or even NUS, right? So just really know that what is it that you want, because at the end of the day, the course you go have to suit the passion that you want to do. Because unless you really don't know that, but you still want something that is a very like, how do I say, a very adaptable degree, business could be a consideration as well.
Cool. So just now you were mentioning that you have actually acquired some tangible skills. So what do you find? Can you name an example of what do you find that is tangible or that has been what skill set have you learned in NUS business that you find is useful?
I think in terms of tangible skill sets, if you tangible one, I would say marketing for me has been tangible in a sense like because I've been doing like real applications outside in, let's say, digital marketing campaigns. So like in marketing, they will teach you a lot about like consumer psychology, consumer behaviors, all these kind of things. And these are things in which you can later on translate to how you want to design your advertisements, how you want to design your campaigns for people. Those are something that's more like, I think much more tangible. But let's say when they teach you the earlier part, I think like the management, HR management, these are things which, to me at this juncture, I don't find it very tangible, very useful. Or maybe that's because like that's not where my interest lies. But other than that, I think marketing for me has been something that's most tangible up to now. But other one, I think still a little bit more abstract. So that's how I would see it.
And I don't know, some of the based on my understanding, there are quite a lot of presentations required, right, for business course.
Yeah, definitely. For business schools, right, it's very important for you to practice how you speak to people. You need to learn to do presentation, and there's a lot of interaction. So let's say for example, if you're an introvert, right, and still want to pursue a business degree, then really have to go and learn to speak up. Because at the end of the day, right, be let's say in university or outside in life, sometimes I think about this, like, opportunities come only if you're willing to ask for it. If you don't want to speak up, you don't want to talk, right, then your opportunities will be very limited. And I think one thing that our education system teaches is just keep quiet, right? Then to me, I would just say, as next time you move on, let's say in university or even outside go to work, really have to go and ask. You really have to take initiative. Like, frankly speaking, people don't judge you as much as you think how much they judge you. So just really have the courage to go and speak up and ask if, let's say, you want opportunities, or even if you don't know a question, simply just ask. That is something that all of us have to do. Like, I think a lot of us got like, even we just like, okay, I feel shy. I got a question I don't want to ask. But a question not asked is basically a potential knowledge that you can actually miss out. So just really like get the courage, go and ask, speak up. Don't paise. A lot of it, like the paise culture is actually killing a lot of people's opportunities. So that is something that I would say, like, take that away. Really just do what you want. Just ask and you should get.
Ask and you will get. And that is so golden, right? So especially for for the viewers out there, okay, if you have any questions that you'd like to ask, okay, this is your golden opportunity, okay, to tap onto Hsin An's brain, okay, and ask him specifically about his experience in NUS. All right, so thank you for sharing your experience in NUS business. I think this is quite one of the very rare opportunities. Okay, I don't get a lot of. Actually, I do have line-out speakers, but they're all from all different platforms. So I don't know when I'm going to get another NUS business student to come and share. Okay, so Yes, for the viewers out there, remember to ask. Okay, we are going on to the Q&A session. Okay, if there's no more questions, okay, then we will quickly wrap up the session. Okay, so yes, if you have any questions, please type it out. Remember, Hsin An and I will judge you. Okay, and anything else that you would like to share about your digital marketing and financial advisory? These two, I think just now you briefly mentioned that you chance upon them, okay, and you kind of are able to apply your digital marketing skills on your financial advisory skills. So, do you intend to pursue this further after you graduate from university?
Yeah, so I think right now, I would say that is the age, of course, starting age. Definitely this one, I'll say if in the next 1 or 2 years, because I still have about 1.5 years before my graduation. And I'll say if this thing does well, which I think there's a possibility that you will do well, and I think that it might be a career that I can pursue in the long run. Then of course, let's say right now for me, frankly speaking, the business degree, I will put it as a safety net. And regardless that right now the current things I'm doing in terms of, let's say, financial advisory or digital marketing, they are earning a decent income, and this is something that I would like to pursue in the long run. And the good thing about this is, for financial advisory, I actually got to write a book as well.
Oh, well, what's the name of the book? You may want to place it closer to the camera.
Yeah, personal finance a lot.
Wow,
Yes.
nice.
Yeah.
Wow. So later on you can PM me this title. Okay, I'll broadcast it to I'll broadcast this to the caption for the Facebook and YouTube link so that they can find this book on. Is it available on?
Yeah, it's available. I'm actually giving out some copies. Actually, you go and see my Instagram. I'm still posting the stories about it. So that's something I can actually pass you a copy as well next time we meet.
Oh, nice! Thanks in advance for the books. Okay, so is there any call out or any activities that you want the target audience to participate to get a copy of the book?
I'm not too sure. Actually, this one is very quite impromptu. I just want to share. So I think I'm back to a thing, because you see, like what Mr. Dale was saying, right? The reason why he's doing all these things is to provide values, and for me, basically, I'm doing the same thing. So what I did was just basically is like I compile the questions which my clients ask, because I understand as you guys grow older, you guys will be like friends will start to become agents and they want to meet you. They'll be like, they want to ask for insurance. So for me, the purpose of this is just package information in a much more easily understood manner. So like infographics and diagrams to make things easier to understand without you having to meet an agent. So that, I think it's something that is quite an exciting project which I've been doing in 2020. And
nice.
This is what it is.
Wow, this is one of the youngest author that I know. I really salute you. Okay, so for the viewers out there, okay, please remember, okay, to check out Hsin An's book, okay, which is available in bookstores. Okay, and yes, this is the compiled questions for all the financial advisory questions that are compiled over the years, right? Okay, and there will definitely be of much value. Okay, so we have come to the end of the activity, or the end of the. So there is one message that you have, okay, for the Ace Your Econs juniors, okay, or even for other A-level students who chance upon this interview. Okay, what is your most sincere message to them that you'd like to share?
Okay, I think message-wise, the way I look at it is just that don't focus too much on the results, because result is something which you cannot control. Focus more on the process, because it's this process which you are currently going through, right? That will actually make it the most memorable, and it's also something which you can control. It's just like, let's say, coming to the fact that all of us, let's say whoever that is looking at it, let's say you are parents, students, right? Your parents, you want your kids to get good A-level results. As students, you want to score well for your A-levels and eventually go to good universities. But let's say your A-level results, those are the factors in which you can't control. You can't control the questions which they are going to give you. You can't control the grade which they are going to give you. But what you can control is the amount of effort that you are putting in the preparation process, how you want to study for your exams, and how you are going to allocate your time for each subject. These are the factors you can control. Focus on the factors in which you can control, and the moment, because only when you know that you have done your best in preparation, then you will have no regrets for the result that you are getting. So really just focus on what you can do, and really just ignore all the noises. Let's say, I don't know what results I'm going to get. My friends are studying. Even your friends are studying, right? That is none of your concern. So what you can do, just really focus on what you can do and just do your best, and eventually everything will just work out. Yeah.
All right. So thank you, Hsin An. Thanks for sharing the message. So to quickly sum up, okay, the key thing is to look into yourself. Okay, so don't be too overly concerned about others. Okay, so long
Yes.
as you give the best, let God do the rest.
Yeah.
All right. So with that, okay, we'll come to the end of the series of Faces of Ace Your Econs. Okay, so if you'd like to get in touch with us, okay, you can drop us a comment. Okay, and I don't know how Sina is going to read your message, but if I ever chance upon that, okay, I'll actually direct the message to him for him to address on your behalf. Okay, so with that, okay, we have come to the end. Okay, so thank you for tuning in. Okay, the next session is likely to be in 2 weeks' time. Okay, 2 Mondays from now. I'm looking at every fortnightly approach. Okay, so the next speaker is likely to be Karine Tan. Okay, she was from, I don't want to get the batch wrong again, but I think it's 2017 and 18. I think so.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, and she was from Hwa Chong. Okay, so with that, thank you, and I will see you guys again in 2 weeks' time. Thank you. Bye bye. Thanks, Inga.
Yeah.